Richmond, Virginia, and somebody decided to shoot up the place. 2 people are dead.
Thank
And
you.
it's people that look like us.
Yes.
Yes.
Kevin is like, when's this gonna stop? And Tiffany has some reasons why we do what we do, so we'll get into it. And also, we're gonna talk about the black mother of 3 who went to a white neighbor's house because her kids had some kind of interaction, and the white woman shot through the front door and killed the sister right there in front of her kids. So we're gonna get into it. So here we go. We're gonna hit on. Let's do the. You guys want to do the Richmond first?
Yeah. You guys hear me okay? Because I have feedback.
Yeah.
No, we hear you.
Okay. I got some feedback. I don't know where it's coming from, but okay. As long as you guys can hear me okay, I'm good. I might switch devices if it continues, though, okay? Thank you.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go.
Shooting after a high school graduation ceremony in Virginia. This was in Richmond yesterday during what should have been a moment of celebration for families there. Instead, 2 people killed, including an 18-year-old who had graduated just minutes earlier. 5 people wounded overall, and a witness said that some of these victims were still in their cap and gowns.
Police have arrested a 19-year-old suspect who they say will be charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. The shooting happened as dozens filed out of a nearby graduation ceremony at the Altria Theater behind me and into this park where the shooter opened fire.
All right.
So sad. So sad.
Yes, we don't own the rights to this footage. We don't own the rights to any of this. It's just our opinion, fair use, educational purposes.
All right. Thank you, Tiffany.
We had hundreds of people in Monroe Park, so people scattered. It was very chaotic at the scene. I can tell you that the person we believe is who is going to be charged was detained initially by VCU security.
Everybody started running and pushed her down on the ground. We got down on the ground, and it's just chaos from there. You just kept hearing shots.
This should not be happening anywhere. Anywhere. Whether it's in Richmond, whether it's in Virginia, whether it's in the United States, this should not be happening anywhere. A child should be able to go to their graduation and walk out their graduation and enjoy the accomplishment with their friends and their family.
He's absolutely correct. It should not be happening anywhere.
And we out here at the graduation. How the fuck somebody done pulled up and killed one of the graduation boys on his fucking graduation day? And look at all these people. We out here ducking. They done shot 2 people. They shot some parents and every fucking thing out here at Huguenot graduation. They got the little boy out there stretched out. And this is fucked up, man. That's fucked up. Y'all need to raise our churn battle. Y'all need to raise our fucking churn battle. Because it ain't no reason why we got black men out here dying after they done fucking graduated. This shit is fucked up.
Real emotions right there. Real emotions.
Yesterday, this young man, Sean Jackson, and his father, Lorenzo Smith, both gunned down outside a high school graduation by this 19-year-old. And the question I have today is when, in God's name, are people like this and other young black men gonna understand how sad, how ridiculous, how idiotic, how crazy it is to go out and murder one another? Now, first let me say this. People murder in every race. Black, white, Latino, Asian, across the board. But today, I'm speaking to my young black brothers. See, I'm smart enough to know that black on black crime doesn't exist. People kill where they live. And usually, 9 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100, no black person is killing another black person because he's black. They're usually killing because of some kind of disagreement, beef, some type of argument, some type of something that's happened. And it has led to such angry and hateful mindsets that the only thing that they can think to do is kill the person. And what I'm seeing is these kids that are killing are getting younger and younger. They have way too much time on their hand. They're not being monitored. They are not being disciplined. And it is very, very easy and accessible for them to have weapons. And not only do they have weapons, these young people today are doped up all the time. And when I say doped up, I'm talking pills and a strain of marijuana that is ridiculously strong and probably 200 times more addictive than the weed your mom and daddy used to smoke. Everywhere you go now, if a car passes you on the highway, you can smell that weed in the car passing you down the street. And what's crazy is most of these parents know that their children are smoking weed and aren't doing anything about it. And the main reason they ain't doing nothing about it is because they smoking it too. And there is definitely something in the drugs today that are causing these young people to do more dangerous and idiotic things with less care. Now, there is a spiritual side to this as well. I believe in God, and I believe that a lot of young people don't have any influence of God in their life in any sort of capacity. None whatsoever. I blame the parents for one, I blame the school system for two, and I blame the church and the community for three. In the black community, we got churches on every corner. And now they're relegated to just that corner. They're not out in the community grabbing up these young people and giving them the proper guidance that they need. The thing that their parents can't seem to figure out how to do. Now, trust me, there's enough blame to go around for everybody. The school system is letting them down because of politics and money. They're not able to control them. And the parents are just failing because they're young. They don't have the right mindset and they weren't raised properly themselves. It almost feels like a hopeless generation and a lost cause to even be talking about this. But that's a mindset I refuse to take. So I'm hoping and praying that everybody wakes up, comes out of this fog, and grab your loved one, your young person, and really investigate their life and find out what's causing them to be damaged and hurt and mad enough to pick up a gun and go out and murder two innocent people right after a graduation. We all have to do more. And if we don't, we're going to see way more instances just like this, just like what we witnessed yesterday. So I hope you got an open ear and an open heart, because your child, your loved one, could be the next one dead or the next one in prison. Think about it. Talk to you soon. Peace.
With the knowledge you gain, break away from the chains. We helping you grow the Black Therapy Show. You in a safe space, dealing with the black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite, no more killing each other. It's time to see a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know, with Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany, you'll have an epiphany. We give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We be giving you everything, we won't challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built you in the teacheries, we built all the schools. Gave us brainwash education, just making us fools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God up above. No. It's Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany. Now welcome to the Black Therapy Show. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, Tiffany is on set.
Yes, please forgive me.
It's all good. It's all good.
Chilling by the pool.
Hey, you want to see you jump in the pool, Tiff?
I'm not going to jump in the pool because I wanted to earlier today when it was like 80 degrees out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to jump in, but now we just chilling. I'm over here like in a little mini castle.
Hey, Tiff, forget all of that. We're trying to get these ratings up. Don't jump in that pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will like that, right?
Yeah, get naked and jump in the pool. All right, so yeah.
What's up, Donna? Donna Higgins joining us so far. Nicole.
What's up, Donna?
What's up, Nicole? Norma Staley. What up, Grandma? And a bunch of other people. Thanks for everyone for jumping in. as you heard, we're going to talk about several topics today. Do white people have a culture? I actually had one person already commented on it.
What they said?
Dave White from YouTube said white folks have a culture of supremacy. The Americans has a culture, Euro, but most were put out of Europe and had to come here to steal, kill, and destroy minds.
That's their culture.
That's the
Rob, steal, and kill.
that's
That's it.
Well-
We don't finish the show. We don't finish the show.
Mic drop. Dang.
Mic drop.
It's going hard. It's going hard.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it as we always do every Sunday at 7:00. But first, we're gonna talk about this shooting at the Richmond, Virginia graduation. Unfortunately, it was people that look like us, and Kevin and I was chatting about it a bit, and we were like, when is it gonna stop? Why do we do it? Tiffany have some thoughts onto why we have this mindset.
Well, it's so bugged that the guy said it. The last guy that was speaking, it's not about black on black crime. What it is that they had some type of altercation, and instead of him trying to solve the problem or just walk away from it, he felt like he needed to settle something. Now you're about to settle your ass in jail, okay? So we have to talk to our children. Our children, like he said, is lacking faith in God, because if you have faith in God, you would have thought twice. You don't respect your mother or your father, because if you respect your mother or your father, you would have thought twice still, because, those are just things that you just think about. He went to a school graduating and shot them on the spot. Like, he had a goal. He knew what he was doing. And they said he just turned himself in. That was it.
And Tiffany and I chatted about this before, and I was wondering, it always seems like black people, when it comes to shooting up, drive-by shooting, just running up on each other, killing each other. Yeah, we know white people go in and they have mass shootings. They'll just spray a whole, they just kill like 1,000 people all in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to stuff like this, it seems like we kind of go after each other, for the simplest things. To me, it's simple. We seem like we get so angry with each other. And I don't understand how because we've done nothing to each other, really, right? We haven't oppressed each other.
Right.
Why this kind of anger towards each other?
Because you said it was personal.
And last week, Tiffany, I told you about I was parking in front of a hotel in New York City, and it was a no parking because hotel guests are coming and going. And I just pulled in to send a text. And the guy came out and started yelling at me, and I rolled my window up, and he got so mad that I rolled my window up in his face, as he said, "Don't you?"
Oh yeah, he cursed you down.
Yeah, but then he started to say to me, "Get out the fucking car! I'll fuck you up."
To hurt you because you rolled the window down.
Yeah, because I rolled my window up while he was talking, because he was getting too close, and I didn't know what he was going to do, so I rolled my window up.
Right.
But he was telling me, get out of the car. You need to ask him. And I said to him, are you really going to go to jail because I rolled my window up? And he did not even care.
No, he didn't care. They don't care.
No, he didn't care. He just wanted to fight. He just felt disrespected. As he said, you don't disrespect me like that. He felt disrespected. And he wanted to fight and kick somebody's ass over it. So are black people, do we get more heated than any other culture?
No, white people have crime too. First of all, it's more of them than us. It's just that they're not broadcasting their crime like they broadcast our crime. Okay? They do crime. They do crime worse than us. So I don't understand why, a lot of people feel like it's just, first of all, us as black people, we're going to recognize it because we're black. We don't want our people to kill each other. We don't want them to hurt each other. We want them to be able to solve a problem and think before they click, think before they shoot. You understand? But these young people today, they missing something. It's something going on with them that they feel like that switch go off, they take it down anything, and he's going to jail. I don't understand. Like, you lost everything. You're going to jail forever for killing 2 people at a graduation.
I'm going to go to you, Kevin, but I gotta say this, Tiffany. I believe if white people were killing each other, like shooting each other, drive-bys and running up on each other at graduation, I think that would make the news. You
No.
know, I do. No, you don't think so? You think they can hide that? I do think we have a problem that we need to address with the kind of anger we have towards each other. I think that's the problem, that we seem to, you know, to be so quick to want to hurt each other. And I'll be honest, I don't really see that with any other race. Kevin, you can go.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Which kind of it kind of goes with during the pandemic, we were having the R&B verses, the verses thing, which was pretty entertaining, but it was pitting black artists against black artists. Like you have, Ozzy Brothers going against so-and-so, or Patti LaBelle against Gladys Knight. So it was like the battle, the verses.
Verses.
Yeah, it was real popular during the pandemic. And I didn't like it. It was good to see those old groups, but I hate it when we battle each other because
why? Right.
it goes to, you don't see white artists doing that. You don't see Phil Collins and going at the Bee Gees, you know what I'm saying? Just throwing that out there. They're not, so you don't see white culture bringing each other down, but we are so quick to battle each other for entertainment pleasure or whatever. So I didn't really enjoy the verses, even though I'm big fans of everybody that was on the verses. I just don't think, seeing Stephanie Mills go up against another great black artist, and we all on the internet afterwards go, who's the best? Who's the best? They're all great. But why do we have to do that to each other? Same thing we discussed on this show called Showtime at the Apollo, how we publicly boo our black entertainers that come out that might hit a bad note or something, and then the audience boo them, and that is seen on national television, us booing other black people. So it's an Apollo tradition, but it's a tradition that shows us once again abusing each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's part of our culture, abusing each other. You boo somebody at the Apollo. See,
Word! As soon as I got there, I was like, most people,
that's wrong, Tiff. Because most people that boo, most people that boo,
I just wanted to say I booed.
But most people that do that, see, a lot of people sit there and boo that they can't sing, they can't tell jokes, they have no talent, and they sit in those chairs and they boo people. Here's my point. You don't see no booing. You don't see no booing on America's Got Talent. You know what I'm saying? You don't see no booing on The Voice.
Oh, because they tell them, they make them sign a competition.
It's just our shows, though, Tiff. It's just us booing each other. And that goes back to the mentality of us not having love for each other, not respecting each other. As far as the 19-year-old who shot these people, and I hate to go back to hip-hop again, because I'm a big hip-hop fan, but hip-hop has glorified prison. So a lot of people don't realize, Tiff, and call how tough prison is, because it's been glorified in movies, and in movies you see somebody in prison and it looks cool, even getting shot in a movie looks cool, getting shot in real life ain't cool, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
But getting shot in a movie, is cool. I mean, Wichita won an Oscar because he died in Untouchables. What's his name? Sean Connery got an Oscar for his dying scene in Untouchables as he was shot up by another gangster. You know what I mean? So everything's glorified. So this 19-year-old, he don't fear prison. He thinks it's a badge of honor probably to go to prison. When he gets there, it'll be a different thing, because when he gets there, reality sets in, and he realizes it's not like the movies.
That's right.
When he gets there and start getting his ass whipped and his ass taken and everything else that goes to prison, then you realize it's not like it is in the movie. So hip hop has glorified a lot of stuff.
So is it our culture?
It is our culture
to be against one another?
Yes.
Let me jump in and say this, Tiffany. Even Richard Pryor said this, and Kevin can co-sign on this. When you do comedy, a black audience is much, much, much harder to deal with than a white audience. and any person will tell you that. It's much harder to please a black audience.
But yeah,
Yeah, if you're a comic doing comedy and you're not doing well in front of a white audience, they'll get quiet and they'll let you know you're not doing well, right? Because they get quiet, your
Yeah.
jokes been working, you know what I mean? But they can't. But you can feel them pulling for you to do well. Because I've had those nights where I'm not doing well, and somebody in the audience, a white person, yell, "All right, Carl, try something else." You know what I mean? Because there's nights when you're trying out new stuff and it's not working the way you want it to work. But if you're not doing well in front of a black audience, totally different experience. Get off the fucking stage. You know what I mean?
They cursing you out and throwing you. Yeah, they doing the Apollo at the comedy scene.
But they will let you know on certain terms that you suck and don't come back and get off the stage.
Oh God!
I did a show where a brother got up out of the crowd, walked on the stage, grabbed the mic from the comic, said to the audience, "Y'all think this motherfucker is funny?" And the crowd go, "No!" And he told the comic off the fucking stage next. You know, so I think it's a cultural thing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't encourage each other.
So how about we reverse it? How can
well,
we
I
reverse
gotta
it?
say
I know
something
that
real
I
quickly.
encourage my people.
Let me say something real quickly about outrage, because I don't feel, and we saw the emotion, the raw emotion of those people in Richmond, Virginia, that was dealing with that situation. But where's the nationwide outrage? Because if that was Dylan Roof that went to uh, that graduation and shot up those black people, or any other white supremacist that went there and shot up those white people, the outrage from us right now will be at another level. And that's real. That's facts. And
Oh,
why
so
is
you
that?
think that should be more? Well, yeah, okay. Well,
I
people are
think that,
talking
yeah,
about
I
it.
think that Al Sharptons and of the world, and I support Al Sharpton. Y'all know that. I talk highly of him on this show all the time. But where's Al Sharpton? Where's Ben Crump? You know what I'm saying? Right now, why are they in Richmond? You know, right now dealing with it? Because if it was a white guy that killed these black people at this graduation, Ben Crump would be there right now.
Is
We
it
agree. We
because
agree,
of
right?
the case? Maybe
We
it's a
agree.
different case.
I'm just saying. Our people that call themselves civil rights leaders.
All
I
right,
think.
Tamika Mallory and my son, they could probably be out there trying to fight for, us keeping the guns away from each other or on each other. The people
I
like
think we
that.
need to be more upset about. I mean, personally on this show, we are. You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
don't
was
like it.
devastated. I'm devastated to see that. It's heartbreaking.
It hurts.
But I think it should be nationwide outrage about what happened in Richmond, the same way it was when we watched Derek Chauvin kneel on George Floyd's neck. Right? I mean, I'm not saying go out and start rioting and tearing up stores and stuff. I'm just saying we as a people had to be more outraged when this type of stuff happened, to somehow come to a way to put an end to it, I guess. I don't know, but there's not enough outrage about what happened in Richmond. And I mean, can you imagine, like, a graduation is supposed to be one of the most
Peaceful
loving,
celebration.
celebrating moments that you can have in a family situation, right? As a graduation. We take nothing more prideful than watching our loved ones graduate and walk across the stage and stuff like that. That's the last place you expect a shooting. Like, I mean, seriously, a graduation?
Yeah,
Like
that's the
somebody's
last.
graduating and some guy's like, I'm gonna take a gun there and shoot. Like, how's that even? Man, that's
Yeah, I feel bad
unbelievable.
for the people. The people's gonna have to have counseling. The people that was there, you's gonna have to have counseling, especially if that boy did it in front of everybody. The family is gonna need help. My thing is, talking to our parents, because one of the guys on the video said, he blames the parents. We have to teach our children how to solve problems, how to deal with rejection. You understand? Not everybody's gonna like you. Not everybody's gonna be for you. Sometimes you have to walk away from things because you know what? It could cost you your life. Now, Carl, we could talk about what's that girl, that lady that got her ass shot through the door. That don't make no sense. It's like crazy out here today.
Yeah. Yeah. there was a lady in Florida, and from what I saw in the news and what I've read and what I've figured out from my research, seems like this black lady in Florida, her kids was playing in some area. I guess the white lady felt like it was her property and she didn't want the kids on her property. Anyway, she came out. The kids left, from what I saw in the news, left an iPad. The lady came out, grabbed the iPad. The kids went to the house to try to get the iPad back. The lady came out, threw the iPad at the kid. He said, hit him on his toe. He went home, told his mama. I don't know if the iPad broke, the screen cracked or whatever, but he went home, told his mother. Mother came back, probably banged on the door to see what's going on. White lady shot through the door. Apparently didn't even come to the door, just shot through the door. Killed her. So
next to her son.
Yeah.
And now all these allegations are coming out of her racist rants on social media. So she's now coming out as a known racist because now they're doing research on her social media posts and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And seeing that she basically has a lot of hate for black people.
All right, hold on. Let me show a couple of videos.
A white woman in Florida has been arrested for allegedly fatally shooting her black neighbor, a mother of 4, during a confrontation. Susan Louise Lorenz reportedly shot a GK AJ Owens on June 2nd after becoming upset that Owens' children were playing near Lorenz's property. She reportedly shouted racial slurs at the children and threw a pair of skates at them, hitting one of the kids. When Owens came to Lorenz's house to confront her, Lorenz reportedly fired a gun and shot Owens through the door. Owens' 10-year-old son was reportedly standing next to her. Lorenz claims she fired in self-defense and told authorities that Owens had attacked her in the past. Florida's standard ground law allows for the use of deadly force to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to oneself or another, so Lorenz was not initially arrested, as law enforcement officials claimed they had to determine if her use of force was justified. However, the local sheriff said they ultimately determined Lorenz's actions were simply a killing and were not justifiable under Florida law. She was arrested on June 6th and charged with manslaughter with a firearm, culpable negligence, battery, and 2 counts of assault. Owens' family said she had a smile that would light up the room and loved and absolutely lived for her 4 children. The shooting comes after several other recent instances of gun violence during everyday situations, including the shooting of Ralph Yarl, who was shot in the head after ringing the wrong doorbell, the fatal shooting of Kaylin Gillis, who was killed when a homeowner fired at the car she was in after it entered the wrong driveway, and the shooting of 2 cheerleaders who approached the wrong car.
Oh, y'all coming
Black
out here?
woman, a mother,
Y'all coming out here?
shot and killed by her white neighbor. The police said clearly there was a conflict between the two, and the white neighbor did, in fact, have an issue with the child. However, white neighbor not arrested. That has now changed. Let's go to it. Okay, this is called the perk walk right here. This is the individual who shot a mother who simply knocked on her door. That is it. Mother dead. The child was operating in good faith, told the mother what happened to her when a conflict between the child and an adult took place. The child says, "Mom, this is what happened." Mom goes, knock on the door to talk to her. She gets shot through the door, dead. Not even arrested.
She's here on our campus here. She's being there. My detectives are finishing up with some interviews with her at this time. And then once they have concluded, she will be escorted into the county jail. You know, the whole time we had only one side of the story, okay? We know that she shot through the door. Of course, on her side of the story, she makes claims that her life was being threatened. And the way the laws are written in this state, and this is what people need to understand, that our hands are tied in law enforcement in these cases where we are instructed that we cannot make the arrest because we have to rule out whether the shooting was justified or unjustified. So one of the biggest things is the interview of witnesses, and some of our witnesses were the mother's kids. And obviously we were not going to interview them that night after watching their mother be shot and killed.
That's the underground law, man. That's what Trayvon Martin had to deal with, and with George Zimmerman. You know.
Yeah.
It worked in George Zimmerman's defense. He actually got off with standard ground, but they're going to claim that every white person that shoots a black person in Florida is going to claim that standard ground law. It's the dumbest law ever. I don't know why it still exists or why it's able to exist in this day and age, Carl and Tiff.
Yeah. Well, Tiffany and I were talking before we went live, and I said, I'm not even sure why that black woman went to that white woman's house, but I'm sure she thought she knew her. She never thought she would have been shot. But let me tell you, Kev, I was telling Tiffany, I have a package, like the number on my house. Let's say the number at my house is 123 Main Street. There's another 123 Washington. And I always get mail for 123 Washington. And I get packages, I get mail, I get all kinds of stuff. One day they said, no, let me drive over because the 123 Washington is just a minute or two down the street from my house. So I said, let me go over there and give these people their package and let them know, hey, I keep getting your mail, I keep getting your packages, but here's something, you know, being a nice neighbor. Mm-hmm. I drove by the house. I saw like 4 or 5 white people sitting on just out in front of the house.
You kept on going.
I kept going. Could you imagine me walking up the house where there's a group of white people sitting in front? You think they're gonna think that I'm there to deliver a package or drop something off, or you think they're gonna have any nice thoughts about me walking up this driveway or driving up? When they see me, I know I'm like, I'm not about to die. And I literally thought I could die trying to deliver a package. That's the America we live in, where you can die trying to deliver a package. I say, you know what? This package is going to go back to the post office and let the postman do his job, because I don't need to try to be. And I've had the package now. This is going on a 3rd week. So I'm hoping it's not some kind of medication that they're waiting on.
You done messed up, Carl.
That package is still sitting in my house because I haven't had the time to go to the post office. You know, but I cannot even deliver a package that was accidentally delivered to my house.
And that's messed up that you have to feel like that as a black man, to have anxiety to go take somebody a package that was left at your house because of how white people treat us and how they deal with us. You understand? And that's sad that you have to feel like that. But I wouldn't have took it over there either. If I see a whole bunch of white people, I'll take it back to the post office.
Yeah. You know, so, you know, even if the black woman was banging on the door, if she was cussing out, if she was doing whatever, you know, the fact that I'm going to say this, I think some white people just want an excuse to kill a black person. I think when they get the opportunity,
they take it. I believe
absolutely. It. I believe it. Like the guy that killed that guy on the train, he was waiting for the day he could strangle a black person.
I forgot his name, but I think it was the Long Island Railroad.
Denny?
The one that killed the Michael Jackson impersonator. Yeah.
Oh, you talking about that? Oh, I went far back. I went back. What's his name? It's a guy that got on the train and killed 2 black boys. Who was it? Kevin.
Oh, you mean way back in the day?
Yeah, he went there and he killed. He said he felt threatened and he shot there.
There's been so many. We can be here all night talking about.
But it's like,
You're right.
It's like they can't wait to, you know what I mean, whenever the opportunity appears, they take it. There's a video of a brother that walking to a restaurant. He was robbing people. He was going from table to table with a gun, and he was robbing people at gunpoint. He went to this white dude's table, you know. No, he didn't get, he went to his table, robbed him, and then he, you know, figured he got everything he wanted, and he turned around and he was walking out, and the white guy got up and pumped 7 bullets in his back. And he's not, it was in Texas. He's not charged. He didn't get charged with anything because I guess if you're committing a crime, but I'm like, I got a feeling if that was a white dude, he would not have got up and shot him in the back.
No, he wouldn't have shot him because a young boy just got killed too by an Asian guy. He thought that he was stealing something, and then when they caught him, he didn't have nothing on him. So you just shot him because you was afraid also? You understand? Like, don't take on this white man being afraid of us, because we don't even worry about Asian people. We don't bother with them. You understand what I'm saying? We try to live our life. I don't understand why the people don't understand. Black people, we don't ask for trouble. We don't ask for trouble. Maybe the negative one or the toxic ones. But if we regular people that work every day and bust our ass, we don't be knocking on the door like we looking for trouble. We want trouble. Where trouble at?
Kevin?
I'm just curious about the manslaughter charge. I haven't got into it enough to find out, but there's not a first-degree murder charge. There's a manslaughter charge. So you shoot.
It's manslaughter, yeah.
Yeah, well, it should be first-degree murder. I would think you shot somebody and killed them in cold blood. Unarmed. An unarmed person was shot in the chest and killed with a shotgun in front of their kid. What's with the manslaughter shit, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the other way around, it'd probably be first-degree murder, right? So yeah, it's the law never favors us. It's always, you know, in their favor. It never favors us. So that's some big BS. Manslaughter my ass. So
yeah, I was looking for a video by comedian Godfrey. I don't know. He did a video where he pretty much said, they just don't fucking like us.
I love that video, Carl. You got to find it. I watch that all the time. I see it all the time. I think I sent it to our chat before because I just love that. He breaks it down.
It's the truth.
So freaking good on that video, Carl. I mean, he basically breaks it down. They just don't fucking like it. That's what he says. You know, like it's true. How he says it is so profound and so deep and true. Yeah, I love Godfrey, man. He brings the heat, you know. So yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm moving around the place.
It's all good. You went from the swimming pool to the sauna room. You're at the bar?
Just the bar.
Okay.
They're barring it up in here. I got my little fake money up in here. Look at the fake money.
Oh, you doing that? Okay. Yeah. So I think God, man, how many kids she had? 4 kids.
The lady that got shot through the door, I think it's 4 or 3 children.
Wow, no mother now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how it is when people pick on your kids and you're a black parent. You're gonna definitely go to, you know, if somebody hits your kid, a black mother is gonna go confront that person. So Carl said, I don't know why you went over there. You know how black mothers are. You touch somebody's kids, you got to deal with them. You know that. So
listen, I get it, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm a type of person because we know today people are different.
Yes.
If I would know that was a white woman at the door, we already know that they got Karen in them, okay? That Karen is going to bubble up and they're going to bug out. So what I'm going to do, and I hope this is a message to everybody, if you have beef with a white person or a neighbor or anybody, call the cops first. Or call somebody that you can know that's going to mediate it, or don't go to them people's houses. Matter of fact, knock on the door from across the street. Call a name. Hey, because they feel like they can kill you at any moment, anytime, and have no repercussions about it. You heard what Trump said. Trump said, I can kill somebody on the street and I won't get locked up for it. I think all of their mentalities is like that. You know, you know, we send our condolences out to her family, to her children, because I can't even imagine. Now these children have to have counseling because now they feel like it was them. It was their fault that their mother lost their life. No, your mother was supporting y'all and protecting y'all. And that white lady had no right to shoot through her door and kill y'all and kill your mother. That was horrible.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was definitely like
the gun violence is ridiculous. You got to remember, a lot of people with these guns never even went to a shooting range, never went anywhere. So, because I met a gun instructor here, and he's a retired cop, so he teaches people now how to work and deal with guns. And now he's on the set with us, helping and teaching and stuff. A lot of us don't know, you know, how to handle a gun, what to deal with a gun, how, you know, if something happens, you just don't pull out your gun and shoot somebody. I mean, that should be the last resort if somebody's trying to hurt you or violate you, but not the first resort. And then you thinking about it later. Now this lady, you got, matter of fact, we don't even know if she's going to get time. You know, like she's going to say self-defense. She felt threatened. It was a big black woman in the front of my door. I didn't know what to do. I had to shoot. I'm telling you, she's going to use self-defense.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I think, you know, I mean, the prosecutor, you know, doing the job right, it's going to, you know, I don't know, Florida, and, you know, I just left Florida. We know that, right? So, and you when you're in a state like Florida, you have to walk on pins and needles. You gotta, know your circles, and living next door and having white neighbors, is a strange thing. And I have black neighbor on one side and I have white neighbors on the other side of my crib. And my dog, I had a little beef. My dog went over and used to take a crap in the neighbor's yard, right? And
Which one, the black or white one?
The white one.
Oh,
and
Lord.
He came over and left a note, a nasty note in the mailbox for us, saying, your dog pooping in my yard, So we dealt with it, we got a chain for the dog so he won't run over there anymore. But he was a puppy at the time. This happened years ago. So, but yeah, at the first time it happened, I didn't like the note. I thought the note to me was insulting. I said, you couldn't knock on my door and talk to me. So I was about to go over there.
He's smart. He knew we should use that.
But I was going to respond negative to his insulting note, but I didn't. My instincts told me leave it alone.
You thought twice.
Yeah. My instincts told me leave it alone. So sometimes
Carl, we can't hear you.
Sorry, that was the black neighbor or the white neighbor, Kev?
The white neighbor.
That was the white neighbor, yeah. So, and like I said, I was gonna go over and confront him because I thought the note that he left, like, you come knock on my door, we're neighbors. Come knock on my door, man. You got a problem with me. Don't leave no note in my damn mailbox, because that means you can't talk to me, and that's insulting to me, So he
played it safe.
Well, he played it safe, and then me, I was going to respond negatively to that bullshit, but then I left it alone, which was the best decision I made.
The best decision.
That's all part of the what I call the fake or the phony fear they have of us. They try to pretend like, now he's probably thinking if I go over there and talk to this black man, he's gonna erupt and he's gonna get all ghetto on me, and he doesn't want to deal with that. But
that's exactly what he probably thought. That's why he left a note in the mailbox.
Right. That's all in his head.
He said, "I'll stick this nasty note in the box."
So they
keep your dog off my ground. Shit.
So they respond to the image they have created of us in their head, even though it's a false image of us. They react to that. He has an image of you, of how you're going to react in his head, and he's reacting off of that.
Exactly.
Right.
Because I remember when I worked for this company one time, and they were painting the parking lot. They were painting lines in the parking lot. So the guy that was doing it came into the office and he said, "Everybody, you got to move your cars today because we're painting the lines in the parking lot." And he was going from cubicle to cubicle telling, "Hey, excuse me, you got to go." And I heard him, going down the line, "Hey, I'm with so-and-so company. We're painting the lot. Can you go move your car to the other side of the lot? And then tomorrow you can move it back or whatever." And then he was like friendly and kind of joking with people. "Hey, you got to move your car." Then he got to my cubicle. And from the time he saw me, his whole attitude changed. Now he's talking like he's speaking like he doesn't want to offend me, or he's speaking softly. "Excuse me, sir. Today
he relaxed that throat.
Would you mind? I'm like, dude, just tell me. You know what I mean? Just tell me, just like you told the other people. We're painting the lines in the parking lot today. Can you move your car, please? Just say it like that.
That's it.
But this might seem like a stretch. But what if he was a cop with a gun? You know what I mean? If he's a cop with a gun now, he's going to see me as some kind of threat. And some people might say, well, that's taking it too far. But I don't think it is. And to me, that's the same way cops, interact with black people. And I've been in cars, and I'm sure, Kevin, you might have been. You have been in a car where you're in the passenger seat, and
yes,
the cop pulls the white person over, and from the time they see you,
they look at you. You're the suspect.
Yes.
Like, are you okay, white person? Are you okay? You in there with that black person?
Right.
Are they kidnapping you? Are they doing anything
right.
to you? Did they put you up to this? And then you will hear the white person like, "Fuck you, man! Why are you pulling me over?" You look at them like.
Yeah,
I know Tiff don't like this, but Tiff, back in my day when I was a sinner, right? I had this white girlfriend. Right? And she was kind of white and Mexican. But anyway, we traveling down to from Washington, D.C. down to a place called Ocean City, Maryland, about 3 hours away. And we're cruising down. and we're in a Corvette, in a convertible Corvette, and we get pulled over by a Maryland State Trooper. So I'm driving, and the trooper walks up, you know, and he's a badass. He's talking, and she starts cussing him out. And I'm going, you know, like, what are you doing? There's a white cop, and you're cursing him out. I'm behind the wheel like this, scared to death.
You driving black?
She's cursing this white cop out. She says, you just pulled us over because you saw a black man with a fine ass white bitch. That's her exact words. You saw.
I believe you.
You just pulled us over because you saw a black man with a fine ass white bitch. So yeah, I mean that's true story. So
yeah, I done been in those. Yeah,
white girl could get away with shit we can't get away with. If my girlfriend was black and she would have cursed at that white cop,
they would have
we both went to jail. Oh yeah, they pulled her, beat the shit out of her, took my ass to jail too. But he actually let us go with no ticket or nothing. I was like, wow, you just cuss out a cop, we got to go free. Wow.
I was just telling Carl, I was watching something yesterday where they had a speed chase, and the speed chase went on for 90 minutes. The guy done took 3 cars, almost ran over an animal, fought a family, and nobody shot, stabbed, didn't taser his ass. They didn't run his ass over. But you know, if that was a black man, he would have been shot on the spot. They wouldn't even let him got to 3 cars. They wouldn't even let him go to a half a block. You should have saw no cop cars was there. Come on, as soon as we do something, it's 15 cop cars. He did not have 15 cop cars until the end of the 90-minute pursuit because he wasn't our color.
Yes, always true.
We know that, and we just live with it.
Yeah,
you know,
we live in it and just hope it's not our ass.
Yeah, we just live with it, knowing that you know, white people they walk around feeling protected.
Yeah, they're very carefree.
We don't walk around like that.
Oh no, we never will.
You know, like I said, I can't even deliver a package to my neighbor up the street. Like,
you think they're going to take out a gun on your ass?
I literally see myself getting shot because if they saw me walking up their driveway with a box in my hand, they're not going to think, oh, he's probably delivering one of our packages, or, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be greeted with a smile, you know.
But now they're shooting, you know, anybody now, though. I mean, like the white girl got shot. When the white girl got shot for just turning around in somebody's driveway.
Right, yeah.
Like we're dealing with like gun violence on another level right now. You can't even buckle you in somebody's driveway anymore without getting shot. I mean, that's crazy.
I told you it's white crime too. It's just that they don't promote it like they promote black. Remember, black crime is trending more than white crimes. They feel like we don't want to make our white people look bad, so we're not going to put all their crimes up. Remember, it's more of them than it is us. You understand? So they do have crimes too. And yes, that lady, she got shot too, rolling up in somebody's driveway. And it wasn't like she was rolling up to her. She was just trying to make a U-turn. I don't even do that either. I tell people, do not roll up in people's driveways. Find a gas station or empty place that you can be able to U-turn, because people do not like you coming up on they daggone they driveway. They're ready to shoot you.
Well, I think she got lost and she realized she was in the wrong driveway or whatever, and she's just trying to turn around to get out. But you know what's amazing to me? How afraid do white people remember do they see what we see? Seriously, like, do they know? Do they see the lynching photos? And they don't see that stuff.
No, they don't see that. I don't remember how we look at things. Yeah. They don't look at things. They feel like, yeah, those things happen, but we gave you free schooling. We set y'all free. We didn't know nothing. They don't know none of this because it doesn't faze them. This is not their everyday life. So no, they don't care.
So, because the reason I asked is because, like, you would see, okay, a group of black kids carjack or something, and then you see people commenting on social media, oh, they're savages. They're such savages. I mean, like, you really want to talk about savages? You know, let me show you some pictures of people being roasted alive. Right?
Right.
Yeah, or people being roasted alive, or about you hear stories about black people being lynched. There's one black man that was being lynched, and he was trying to get the rope from around his neck.
In this area.
So they took him down off the tree, broke his arms, and then proceeded to lynch him again. You know.
Are you serious?
Yes. He was.
That's ridiculous. How you double lynch somebody?
You know.
How you double lynch somebody? I just don't get it.
But then they refer to us as savages. That's why I'm asking: do they know the history that we see and we read about? Does the modern day white person know that?
My show.
Yeah.
No, that's why they want to get rid of the books. That's why they want to get rid of. That's why we're having this big debate for the last 2 years on books and stuff being in schools and things like that. Because some of these books expose some of that stuff, you know. So yeah. I mean that's why they're trying to ban everything. That's why they're trying to get rid of. It's too late though. I mean, as long as there's social media now and stuff like that, all this stuff's going to get exposed. You know, that's why they want to get rid of TikTok. You know, 'cause TikTok is now so many smart people on there. You know, exposing, putting up videos and stuff like that.
That's why they want that TikTok off.
Yeah, of course.
I'm in another area, y'all.
Yeah. So I mean, you mean like the whole thing with black babies being used as alligator bait. Yeah.
Oh, Carl, Carl, do not let that down. Carl,
No.
like that alligator bait shit is amazing.
You know, and about black people being buried and leaving the head exposed. They buried them in the ground, leaving the head exposed, and then they poured honey on their head so the ants can come and friggin' just.
Carl, we be trying not to think about that shit because we gotta make us mad, Carl. Kevin, tell him.
You know, but then they call us savages. That's my point, right? But then they call us savages. So that's my point. You know. So that moves right into our last topic, which is white culture. So is that what I just spoke about? Is that white culture? Is that it?
In some places, yes, sir. In some places, definitely yes.
Yeah. Because I mean,
sorry, I got my stupid thing going here, guys. Sorry.
All right, so let me show a couple of videos here.
If you could be any race other than the one you are, which would it be?
White.
Why white?
The freedom and the independence.
If you could be any race other than the one you are, which would it be?
Man, I'd be white. I'm good with what I am.
If you could be any race other than the one you are, which would it be?
Pretty chill with my race right now.
What's your current race?
Depends on who you ask. I'm white Jewish.
What's one thing that you take pride in about being mixed with white and Jewish?
Jewish culture has a lot of good parts about it. Customs and traditions and pretty neat. I don't know. I feel like white's not really like a culture. It's like more of like a race. I feel like it varies from culture to culture.
Yeah, he said white's not really a culture. So.
We need to stop saying that white people don't have culture because it actually helps white supremacy.
So white culture exists, but it is not a culture as such. It's a power structure, an ideology. It's white supremacy, the will to power, the desire to be the universal subject, to be default, neutral, to be considered merely human without having to hyphenate or qualify. Now, the problem is occupying that neutral default position doesn't really lend itself to the sorts of idiosyncrasies and particularities that we associate with culture. Not only that, it leads you to the denial of that sort of specificity. Think of the way that transphobes like to claim that they don't have pronouns. Now, of course, white people have cultures. They have regional, national, linguistic communities that they belong to. But that is very different from saying that they have a white culture. And in fact, those individual cultures do a lot of work to undermine the idea of white culture and white supremacy. Because if you call yourself, for instance, an Irish American, you're weakening your claim to being only American. You've now joined the long list of people with hyphenated identities. And I would add one last point, something else that is missing from that general category of white culture. which is a claim to injury. So the sociologist Wendy Brown, in her book States of Injury, describes how identity categories tend to be formed in response to some sort of harm. A group of people is oppressed, they form a community in response, and then name themselves. And that series of acts, is the formation of a culture. But white culture has never had that experience. We share no common experience of oppression or victimization because of our race, which goes a long way to explaining why it is that we say something provocative like white culture doesn't exist, because it is a very different animal.
So, do white people have a culture?
Thieving, stealing, and privilege, they pillaging, taking stuff. I don't know, what is their culture? You tell me.
I guess individually, like Italians have a culture, right? Irish have a culture.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay.
No, but as a whole, as a group, like black people. I can go to anywhere in the world and talk to a black person. I guarantee they can share my experience. So that's like a cultural thing. We have that in common. No matter where you go, we share that experience of oppression, or I can tell my story of racism, and they can simulate with what I said. But can white people do that? That's the argument. Some people are saying that white people don't have culture and they take a lot of other people's cultures too, right?
Well, culture is more than racism. But I'm just yeah, of course. As Godfrey pointed out in the video that we were talking about earlier, rock and roll, jazz. You got to find that, Carl. Yeah, rock and roll, jazz, all that stuff comes from us, and all those things come from us because of oppression that we went through. Yeah, I mean the blues, the music, the blues was created out of slavery. Jazz was created out of slavery. Rock and roll. You very rarely see black people play banjos now, but we were the first people to play banjos. But that's considered a hillbilly instrument now, though. But the first banjo players were African people. But it's not even considered part of our culture anymore. We see somebody with a banjo, we think, they some country western hillbilly, right? But that's our instrument, the banjo. Of course, the drums is our instrument. We know that, and the saxophone and the trumpet. I mean, that's all our stuff, And, that brings me to the point. I was talking to. I was on tour with Wynton Marsalis, who's a jazz great legend, and he was telling me. He says, Wynton works theaters, and he was saying that. He was saying that people like Kenny G. You brought up Kenny G, who's a white jazz artist, and he was saying that Kenny G sells out, big places compared to him, and he's playing real jazz. You know what I mean? Like he's playing like real authentic jazz, and somebody like Kenny G, who plays watered down jazz, black people pay to go see. Like they don't pay to see Wynton. They'll go see Kenny G before they see a Wynton Marsalis. I found that very interesting. And Wynton's audience is mostly rich white people. So rich white people pay to see a real jazz artist like a Wynton Marsalis. And black people pay to see Kenny G, who does watered down version of jazz. Because you know why, right? Because Kenny G's on the radio. And Wynton Marsalis is not on the radio. Like you don't hear Wynton on an R&B station, you know what I mean? But you can hear Kenny G on an R&B station on any given night, any given day. You can hear Kenny G song on an R&B station. You'll never hear a Wynton Marsalis song on an R&B station. So we kind of tend to what's on the R&B station, and I just find that very interesting. So we don't even support some of our real things like jazz. It's supported by rich white people. If you ever go to a Wynton show, it's all rich white people. No black people in the audience. I know. I was on tour with the guy. Very rarely you see black people at his shows.
Do you know I went to a Bill Cosby concert way back in the day? Well, not way back, but and I was probably one of few black people that were at his show. Bill Cosby.
What I think, to be honest, I see more white people go to shows than black people, especially with concerts. They even said the great Bob Marley wanted to touch more black people instead of white people with his music, because he was singing to his people, but it was more white people that was coming. And I think that's when it was time for him to go, how they felt. Like it was time for him to go because he would have touched so many different people by his music. Our music touches people's soul. Our music is our pain and what we go through,
Prince said the same thing too. After Purple Rain came out, Prince said his concerts totally turned white after Purple Rain. And
because you become a pop artist, once you become, because those guys, back in the 70s, Prince had all black fans, right? Controversy album and all that stuff. Not the 80s, I'm sorry, the 80s. But then because he was considered an R&B artist back then, right? I guess. But once you become so-called
pop star,
like Michael Jackson, this Michael Jackson right here was an R&B legend, right?
Yeah.
But the Michael Jackson that we all seen on Thriller was a pop star. The king of pop is what he called himself, right? So now you go to a Michael Jackson concert, in his later years, you're going to definitely see mostly 98% of that crowd were probably white people, compared to this Michael Jackson when he's with his brothers, it was probably all, mostly black people, right? So, and that's what happened to be a pop star. But everybody wants to be a pop star because there's more money involved. When you consider a pop star, you make more money than you do as an R&B artist. Patti LaBelle is a great singer and a great artist, but Patti LaBelle would never fill a stadium like a Tina Turner, right? Because Tina Turner is considered a rock star. And
she changed, right?
So Tina Turner was with Ike. She was a blues and R&B singer, but when she was Ike, but when she came on her comeback, she reformed into a pop star and a rock artist, and she was able to sell out stadiums at that point. Most R&B singers can't sell out stadiums. They got to be, you put Usher got to have opening act, and a couple other people, Boys and Men got to be on the show with three other acts, to sell out a stadium, right? But when you're a pop star, you basically can sell out a stadium by yourself, Maxwell could never sell out a stadium by himself. He got to be on the show with a bunch of other people, right? But a pop star, like Janet Jackson's considered pop right now. She don't need an opening act. She can sell out an arena by herself because she got that pop title. And it's a different level, I don't know how it gets like that.
It's so bugged that you say that, because Tina Turner said in an interview she was hotter in Europe than she was in America. And she said, I wasn't no Madonna. She wanted to be like Madonna rave. And she said when she went to Europe, she was bigger than Madonna in Europe.
Yeah, because in this country, we only like what's hot. And I think I've told this story before. James Brown, when he was alive, James Brown is our legend. He's James freaking Brown, right? One of the most copied artists ever is James Brown. Michael Jackson, Prince, every rap group ever had a hit on and bit off of James Brown's ass, right? James Brown was performing in Washington, D.C. at a place called the 930 Club. And the 930 Club is like a club that holds like 1,000 seats. On that same night that James Brown was performing at the 930 Club for 1,000 people, the Rolling Stones was performing about 12 miles down the street at the stadium where the Washington Redskins used to perform at. And it's an 80,000 seat arena, And the Rolling Stones sold out that arena. So here you get the Rolling Stones selling out a 70,000 seat arena, and 12 miles up the road, you have in Georgetown, the 930 Club, you have our legend, James Brown, in a theater, in a venue that holds maybe 1,200 people. But James Brown could never sell out that 70,000 seat football stadium, because we only support our artists when they're on the radio, to that level. You know, all the hits Patti LaBelle have, all the hits Gladys Knight have. If you put both of them on the same show, they still can't sell out an arena.
Kevin, you're 100% correct on that.
Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight on the same show still can't sell out a 20,000 seat arena.
Even if you throw in Dionne Warwick, probably still couldn't sell out.
And you put her on the show too, still can't sell out a 20,000 seat arena.
Yeah, because
But guess what? Aerosmith can, and and they ain't had a hit since when? The 80s. You know, if George Michael was still alive,
it's more white people than us. It's more white people than us. You think they're not going to support their people?
There's enough of us to sell out an arena on our legends. We just don't support our legends like that because, you know, Tina Turner it became a pop star, which means when you become a pop star, your audience is 90% white at that point. So that's why she was able to sell. You ever go to a Tina Turner concert? And I've never been. I guarantee you 80% of the audience or 90% of the audience is white people. Same with Michael Jackson. I've been to Michael Jackson concerts. I've been to a Prince concert, several of them. And the Prince, when he was performing in the arena, it was mostly white people on the Purple Rain tour. And I saw Prince at a place called the Warner Theater in Washington, D.C. He did an intimate show. And that place only holds about, I guess, 3,800 seats or something like that. And he don't really work venues like that. But he did a special show there. And that audience was mostly black. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, when you're a pop star, your audience is white, you know?
Yeah, that's what they call crossing over, right? When you
crossing over, yeah.
Money.
That was one of the problems.
Crossing over.
That's one of the things that Phyllis Hyman had a problem with. That's why she was depressed, because Phyllis Hyman wanted to be crossover. She was an R&B artist who wanted that. And when Clyde Davis dropped her and picked up Whitney Houston, and Whitney Houston became this big pop star. But Clyde Davis had Phyllis Hyman on his roster before he had Whitney.
Yes,
he dropped her. He dropped the great Phyllis Hyman to pick up the great Whitney. Whitney became great, right? But he dropped Phyllis to pick up Whitney. And Phyllis wanted to be a pop star. She didn't want to be just the R&B singer singing about her boyfriends leaving her or whatever the case may be. She didn't want to be working just little theaters, and she wasn't satisfied with that. She wanted to be a big pop star, and she thought Clyde Davis was going to take her to that level. And he did. He dropped her for Whitney, and you know, the rest is history, right?
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, the rest is history.
Everyone for joining us today for another hour, hour and 10 minutes on a Sunday. We really appreciate you. We truly love you for taking the time to spend with us. We don't take
y'all should be had your asses in church instead of watching this show. No, I'm just kidding.
And shout out to Tiffany on the set of the movie Foxy Brown, the remake of Foxy Brown.
Right. I think Tiff is on
You
porn
is crazy
set.
about the remake.
Tiff, I think you're on a porn set. I think you're on a porn set and you're faking. You're doing makeup of porn artists.
Yeah, I'm on a porn set. Look at that.
Swimming pools and jacuzzis in the back.
So Tiffany, before we go,
it's beautiful.
Anything you want to share?
Well, I want to say to you see we having an echo back and forth, but everybody, you know, we love you. Thank you for tuning in. You know, we ask y'all to just talk, you know, communicate with your family, talk to your family, appreciate your loved ones, because tomorrow I have to bury my friends' moms. You know, we just have to really just sit back and just reevaluate our life so we can do things differently, especially for our young people, you know. But other than that, please make sure you like, subscribe, and if you want us to talk about something, you can go to the Black Therapy Show at gmail.com. We're there. Please leave a comment on the YouTube, the Facebook, because we want to know what y'all feel. We want to know what is your thoughts? What is your solutions? How can we make us a better people?
All right. Kev, anything you want to drop before we take off?
Yeah, man. I'm very saddened by our show today because it highlighted two tragedies that should have never happened. You know, the
Right.
black mom in Florida losing her life was just heartbreaking.
Yeah,
And
rest in peace.
the young man and his father, I believe, was a father and son that was killed at the graduation in Richmond,
Yeah,
Virginia.
his stepfather.
And I know that area well, man. I mean, Richmond's a small place, man. So I spent time there, you know, and it's just sad, man, that happened. And you know, it's heartbreaking, man. I don't know when the gun violence is going to end in this country. It's just affecting too many lives, and so it's just a sad thing. So, you know, everybody just hey, stay vigilant, keep your head up, and be smart out there, you know, because we're all sitting ducks, you know, in this crazy world. Too many guns. There's more guns than human beings in the United States of America.
That's right. Think before you
crazy.
click.
And that's a real fact. There's more guns than human beings. It says 3 guns for every American.
Messed up.
3 guns for every American. Think about that. I'm done. Good show,
All
guys.
right. I want to say thank you to everyone for checking us out. Please like, share, subscribe, so you hit the notification bell so you get notified once we go live. And before I go today, I would like to say, everyone, today we are one day closer to our deaths. So be nice. Every day you wake up, you're one day closer to your death. So just be nice to the people.
Thank you, Paul.
You know, just be nice. I know
be nice.
Be nice. Just, you know.
I listened to a gentleman. I listened to a gentleman on Urban View Radio, Dr. Wilmer Leon. If you ever get a chance to listen to him, he's great.
Yeah.
Dr. Wilmer Leon kicks some serious knowledge every Saturday. I think his show is from 12 to like it's like a 3-hour show on Urban View Radio. He ends his show by saying the same thing you just said, Carl. He ends his show by saying, live each day like it's your last, because one day you'll be right. Yeah. Live each day like it's your last, because one day you'll be right.
One day you'll be, absolutely.
So Dr. Wilmer Leon, y'all check him out if you get a chance. Deep brother, kicking the knowledge.
All right, people. We will see you next Sunday here, 7 p.m.
And America would never give us. We always have plenty of topics to talk about in the United States of America.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We don't choose our topics like the day before.
Yeah, really. So much stuff happens.
With the knowledge you gain, break away from the chains. We helping you grow the Black Therapy Show. You in a safe space, dealing with the black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite, no more killing each other. It's time to see a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany, you'll have an epiphany. We'll give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We're giving you everything, we won't challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built your penitentiaries, we built all your schools. Gave us brainwash education, just making us fools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God above. No, it's Carl.
Yeah, man.